Shakur is a very talented, skillful, technique fighter.
Yeah.
You know, can't take anything away from it. However, scared to get hit. Scared to get knocked out in front of the world. Scared to get touched up in front of the world.
Are you saying that off of the last fight or just
in general?
In general.
In general.
Yeah.
In general. Me and Shakur sparred before. We did 3 rounds, and it was just light work. And me trying to figure out his jab. Does he have a good jab? Yeah, he does. But once you pass it, once you pass his jab, it's game.
Yeah.
It's food. It's lunch food. Shakur is a very talented, skillful, technique fighter.
Yeah.
You know, can't take anything away from it. However, scared to get hit.
Teofimo Lopez dropped a bombshell. He said he only sparred about 3 rounds with Shakur Stevenson in the past, but one thing he picked up and that he noticed was Shakur Stevenson does not like to get hit. He said he's afraid of being hit. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego back with us. Some more boxing. Teofimo Lopez did a brand new interview with Cigar Talk. Make sure you check it out. In this interview, he says Shakur Stevenson got a good jab. He said he can't take anything away from his jab. However, and there's a big however, he says Shakur does not like to get touched. He does not like to get hit. He's afraid of being knocked out. So once you get past Shakur's jab, I mean, you guys heard the clip. Once you get past Shakur's jab, he said, then you good. You to the promised land. He said basically, he literally said Shakur is food at that point. Wow. Shocking statement from Teofimo Lopez. Listen, well, let me first start off by saying this. I understand what Teofimo is saying as a whole, which I'll break down. Stay tuned to the end of this video. But maybe it's the articulation of it, how he stated it. You know, that part didn't all the way resonate with me because he's saying he's afraid to get knocked out in front of the world. I mean, who the hell wants to get knocked out in front of 1 million people or knocked out on ESPN? I mean, the way he said that, I don't know. It was a little bit weird. He's afraid to get knocked out. I don't know. Maybe he could have articulated that a little bit different. Because the reality is no fighter wants to get knocked out in front of a bunch of spectators. Now, for sure, there are some fighters who I guess you could say are more willing to, or their style permits, and they have a style in which maybe they will get knocked out because they have a leaky defense. But no fighter, especially a fighter who has defense or has ring generalship or the ability to dodge some of the shots coming at him, nobody's gonna just, unless you're just fighting off pride and you're being an idiot like Tim Bradley did versus Ruslan Provodnikov, where he was mad because people said he cheated Pacquiao, so he started trying to fight this big, powerful Ruslan Provodnikov Russian puncher. He tried to fight him like he was Ivan Drago or like he was Triple G or something, and he almost paid for it. He almost got knocked out in that fight. So all in all, I think it's kind of a cop-out. You know what I mean? There's fighters who lack defense, and they always talk ish about fighters who have a good defense. Shakur Stevenson, that almost didn't look like, is that him? That's not Shakur. There's no way that's Shakur. Oh, that's Abdullah May. I was about to say that looked different. That threw me off. I was like, that's not Shakur. His face looked different. But anywho, the reality is, you hear people say this guy's a runner and this guy, they say that to like pure boxers because they're smart. And I'm not gonna knock somebody for being smart in general. Now, I will say Shakur's last performance, I have no problem with pure boxing. You know, Floyd did that in his later career. He was fighting guys way bigger than him, 15, 25 pounds bigger than him. So he wasn't going to knock everybody out. So you did see Floyd Mayweather even box people and outbox them. But it was the way he went about it and the way he did it that really like made you a believer. So Floyd, he's special, right? Shakur Stevenson's last performance with Edwin De Los Santos, it just left so much to the imagination. I really thought that was going to be a crazy fight and a good back and forth fight. Like, I'm not mad at Shakur winning, anything like that. I just expected a bit more. I thought Edwin was going to press more, maybe try to have more success, and I thought Shakur would be more offensive as well, and that's not what we got. So, you know, it is what it is. Shakur is claiming retirement. Don't believe him one bit. I think he's frustrated. I think he's annoyed because he's getting skipped. Like, how did he fight Robson Conceição? See, this is how. Just look at how the game go. Top Rank had Oscar Valdez, and they put Oscar Valdez in with Robson Conceição, and they Robson. That's a bar. So Robson got robbed versus Oscar Valdez, and if I'm not mistaken, he failed the test for that particular fight with that phentermine. So it was a terrible, terrible performance, all things considered, for Oscar Valdez. You failed a PED test with phentermine, a banned substance. They got you out of jail, you know, not literally, but get out of jail free card, let you still fight, and then you get cooked by Robson Conceição. Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson dog walks Robson Conceição effortlessly. He didn't even look like they were in the same league or anything. And then you had Emmanuel Navarrete, who fought the same guy. So another Mexican fighter. You had Oscar Valdez, Mexican American, and then a Mexican fighter in Emmanuel Navarrete. And I think he had a draw with them. It was a pretty close fight with Robson Conceição. So how is it that Shakur Stevenson beat Robson Conceição, a gold medalist, easy work, and Emmanuel Navarrete's moving up in weight, and he getting first dibs on the WBO? Shakur can't get the Lomachenko fight. And George Kambosos, I did think he lost to Maxie Hughes, and he getting the Lomachenko fight. So, yeah, I understand Shakur's frustration, but, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with his approach. Now, back to Teofimo and him saying that Shakur simply does not like to get hit. I mean, it's hard to refute that because I noticed this really, the first time I really noticed it was when Shakur fought against that African dude, Nakathila. People were clowning that performance as well. Tim Bradley was like, oh, I fell asleep on the telecast live, right? And that was like the first fight where I was like, hold on, wait a minute. You seen a drop off in offense. And Shakur Stevenson said post-fight, oh, that guy was mad awkward. He was just real awkward. He had power. He had a lot of power, and he was awkward. And I remember how Shakur was vehemently stating that he was awkward with power, and that seemed to have given him all the trouble in the world. So what Tio is saying, there could be some truth to it, because we seen the same thing, the same exact behavior in Shakur's last fight with Edwin De Los Santos, another puncher, but also an athletic guy who's twitchy, fast twitch muscles. So he was awkward for a different reason. Like Nakathila wasn't as fast as Edwin De Los Santos, but they both had some snap. And then you look at Murataya, and he destroyed Nakathila. And I think somebody else beat Nakathila after. You know what I mean? But I know Murataya beat him. Styles make fights. And then, you know, Shakur Stevenson in both of those fights with basically awkward punchers, Shakur Stevenson's offense fell off a cliff. So Teofimo, he might be telling the truth. And maybe this is something that he observed in sparring. Maybe it's a combination of sparring and what he's seen, which is what I just told you, Nakathila. You see a little bit of hesitance from Shakur Stevenson when he's in there with aggressive puncher styles. Because I even said that Shakur keeps calling out Tank Davis, and you seen when he fought Edwin De Los Santos, and Shakur Stevenson was like, you know, just using the ring and not really throwing much offense. Again, his offense fell off a cliff. Imagine if that was Gervonta Davis, who's sharper, faster, and he's more experienced at the high level. Edwin De Los Santos had less than 20 fights. So let me know what you guys think. It's not an indication if Teo were to fight Shakur, because I know some fans are going to just say, oh, Teo needs to fight Shakur then. Teo has a fight tonight, and he got to get past his guy, which is Jermaine Ortiz. Teo puts a lot of pressure on himself. I will say that, because I think the Ortiz fight is tough, and he's taking shots at Terrence Crawford, called him out, talking about Shakur Stevenson, talking about Devin Haney. So he talked about ESPN can keep the blacks and all that, black fighters and all that. So he's definitely putting a lot of pressure on himself. But, you know, it's not an indication of what would happen if Shakur and Teo met in the ring. I guess it's just something to observe and keep your eye out for when Shakur Stevenson does fight a big puncher. But he does seem like, here's the only addition that I'll add to what Teo said. I don't think it's just a big puncher if it's a one-dimensional puncher. Like if Shakur Stevenson fights a big puncher, like let's say Oscar Valdez, he probably got a cool punch, you know, pause. But, you know, he probably got good power. I don't think Shakur is bothered by that style as much, like, because you know what Oscar Valdez is going to do. He's like kind of like one-dimensional in his approach and his attack. I think it's guys who are like tricky, like Edwin De Los Santos, plus they have that power. Like fast, twitchy, athletic. You know, Edwin De Los Santos had a jab, things like that. Where it's like, okay, if he follow up with a combination off the jab, Shakur could be in trouble if he get clipped with any of that stuff. So, yeah, it makes you wonder what would happen versus guys like Gervonta Davis, who just sets up beautiful traps. And that's the guy that Shakur is calling out. Let me know what you guys think. Shakur is still a talented fighter. I doubt he's retired. But at the end of the day, you know, there is this myth or this stigma around Shakur when he fights punchers if he's less aggressive. Let me know what you guys make of that. Teofimo's comments. Should Teo shut up and focus on his fight? Or do you think there's some truth to what he's saying? Let me know. Check out the interview with Cigar Talk. And I'm out.